Let's bring you some breaking news. Unconfirmed reports, but there are coming in, of a young woman being found dead on a beach in Calais after they believe that she fell off a small boat trying to get across the channel. She's been identified as a 24-year-old Eritrean, we understand, but not been named, and thought to have drowned in the early hours of this morning. Reports suggesting, although, as we say, unofficial at the moment, that she was hoping to claim asylum in Britain. Her body found on Blériot Beach at about 5:40 a.m. Meanwhile, the Red Cross on the Italian island of Lampedusa rushing to empty a processing centre ahead of what they believe will be another surge of migrants there, expected to arrive by the end of the week.
Well, GB News has learnt the camp, known locally as the hotspot, now has just over 150 residents and comes a week after more than 11,000 migrants reached Lampedusa from North Africa.
Let's get more live there now with our Home and Security Editor, Mark White. And Mark, first of all, these reports just reaching us about what's been happening on the channel, and of course a reminder of the human cost of all this.
Yeah, and they know that only too well here in Lampedusa. We're a week away from the 10th anniversary of a terrible tragedy out in the Mediterranean, a boat that was heading for Lampedusa that capsized and 360 people drowned on that occasion. And there have been many other drownings in the Mediterranean since. And of course, a number in the Channel. Now, what we understand about this Eritrean woman, 24 years old, as you mentioned, she'd been trying to get on one of 4 boats that made it across to Dover this morning. This is the first time that these Channel migrants have managed to illegally cross into the UK for some 9 days, because there have been pretty bad weather conditions out in the English Channel that has prevented those crossings. Similarly, here in Lampedusa, we're in a period of about 4, now coming into 5 days of windy weather out in the Mediterranean south of the island, which is making that crossing impassable. So that 9-day period of no channel crossings means, of course, that the people smugglers are effectively queuing them up to get on the boats and across the second that conditions improve. Well, conditions did improve, but they were still pretty rough and just borderline for being able to cross. And it's understood that this 24-year-old Eritrean woman was trying to get on one of the boats when she slipped off. The boat left her behind, but she didn't make it back to shore alive, and her body was found just before 6 a.m. this morning. So, say, another tragedy to add to a growing list of tragedies in the English Channel.
Yeah, as you say, Mark, it is a reminder of the human cost of this tragedy, and a source is saying now that it followed a night of intense activity of migrant crossings in the Channel. And where you are now in Lampedusa, you're outside a processing centre yesterday for us, Mark, and we understand that there is now emergency action from the Red Cross trying to empty those processing centres ahead of another migrant surge. Again, talking about the weather, and once that weather clears, there are fears there's going to be another surge of migrant crossings.
Yeah, we were able to speak to senior Red Cross official at that migrant camp run by the Red Cross in Lampedusa, which really struggled to cope with thousands of migrants. At one point, 7,000 were in that camp at one time. It's only designed to hold 400 migrants. So what they've been doing is taking advantage of the weather, the winds blowing across the Mediterranean, which have stopped the migrant boat crossings, to empty out that camp, to get them on ferries to the Italian mainland. And they've managed to get it down to 155 people in the camp at the moment. They'll try and reduce it further ahead of what is an expected surge when the weather dies down from probably Wednesday onwards. I spoke earlier to Serena Cornelia, who is the senior supervisor for Red Cross camps across Italy, and this is what she told me.
If you have a lot of people, is more difficult to give the support, but we try to give food, give kit, give psychological support and health support to all the people inside the center. We have specialized team of psychologists, doctors and operators and volunteers that work with minors. So we have tried to take care of all the people inside the center.
And how are you preparing for the possibility of more boats when the weather improves?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we are preparing kits with clothes, hygiene kits, food kits in the way to be prepared at the arrival.
Well, Mark, that's the reaction there on the island. What about Italy in a wider sense? I gather the Pope has been saying that the Mediterranean and what's happening to people is something that needs to be taken on a national level.
Yeah, there is an unedifying row between the Italian government and the European Union and other European countries. We had Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission President, who came here just over a week ago to see for herself the conditions on the island. She promised more help. But it comes at a time where a number of European countries, France and Germany included, are saying they just won't take any more migrants from Italy because they're accusing the Italian government of not being reciprocal, of not taking its share of migrants coming in to the European Union. So we're at a bit of an impasse at the moment, and all of the while the number of migrants coming to Italy continues to grow. That Red Cross official told me that on Lampedusa alone, since the 1st of June mark, 62,000 migrants have arrived here. Going into Italy as a whole since the beginning of the year, 130,000 migrants have arrived in Lampedusa and other areas of Italy, and officials are expecting that that will easily top 200,000 by the end of the year. It gives a real indication when you compare it to the crisis that the UK is facing in the Channel. Not insignificant, but just look at that compared to 200,000 in a year to Italy, one country.
OK.